हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम बैक टू ग्रो विद कनिष्का, जहां बोर्ड एग्जाम की तैयारी होती है स्मार्ट और फुल पावर से। मैं हूं आपकी कनिष्का डी और आज हम फ्लेमिंगो बुक के एक बहुत ही क्वर्की, ह्यूमरस और इंसाइटफुल चैप्टर में झांकेंगे इनटू द वर्ल्ड ऑफ ओल्ड इंडियन फिल्म मेकिंग लीन्स इन कॉन्स्पिरेटोरियली। आज हम पढ़ेंगे एक ऐसा चैप्टर जो बोर्ड एग्जाम के लिए तो इम्पोर्टेंट है ही, बट इट गिव्स अस अ फैसिनेटिंग बिहाइंड द सीन्स लुक एट जेमिनाई स्टूडियोज चेन्नई, वन ऑफ इंडियाज अर्ली इन्फ्लुएंशियल फिल्म स्टूडियोज। ये कहानी है मेकअप मिसहैप्स, ऑफिस पॉलिटिक्स, पोएट्स, मिस्टीरियस विजिटर्स एंड पैनकेक्स। यस, पैनकेक्स। चैप्टर का नाम है पोएट्स एंड पैनकेक्स। गेट रेडी फॉर अ राइड थ्रू नॉस्टैल्जिया एंड सैटायर। और हाँ, अगर आप पूरा वीडियो ध्यान से देखोगे तो एंड में मिलेगा एक फ्री सरप्राइज जो आपके बोर्ड प्रेप में गोल्ड जैसे काम आएगा। मिस मत करना। दिस चैप्टर इज फुल ऑफ इंटरेस्टिंग कैरेक्टर्स एंड एनेक्डोट्स। वैसे, अगर आप चाहते हो कि इंग्लिश बोर्ड प्रेप सॉलिड हो जाए तो अभी के अभी सब्सक्राइब करो ग्रो विद कनिष्का और बेल आइकॉन दबा दो, क्योंकि यहाँ हर लेक्चर होता है नेक्स्ट लेवल। लेट्स डी कोड द ड्रामा बिहाइंड द सिल्वर स्क्रीन। ओके चैंपियंस, लेट्स गेट द कॉन्टेक्स्ट। पोएट्स एंड पैनकेक्स आपके फ्लेमिंगो टेक्स्ट बुक का छठा प्रोज चैप्टर है। इसे लिखा है असोकामित्रान ने, जो एक फेमस तमिल राइटर थे। ये चैप्टर उनकी बुक माई ईयर्स विद बॉस का एक एक्सर्प्ट है, जिसमें वो जेमिनाई स्टूडियोज में बिताए अपने सालों को रिकाउंट करते हैं। जेमिनाई स्टूडियोज चेन्नई में 1940 में एस वसान ने सेटअप किया था। अशोकामित्रन का काम था न्यूज़पेपर क्लिपिंग्स काटना और फाइल करना। सीमिंगली इनसिग्निफिकेंट, बट इट मेड हिम वेल इन्फॉर्म्ड। ये चैप्टर जेमिनाई स्टूडियोज के वर्किंग एनवायरनमेंट, वहाँ के लोगों, मेकअप आर्टिस्ट्स, ऑफिस बॉय, कोथामंगलम सुब्बू, द लॉयर, विजिटिंग ग्रुप्स, MRA एंड द जनरल एटमॉस्फेयर को ह्यूमरसली पोर्ट्रे करता है। It touches upon themes like national integration in the makeup depth, frustration, sycophancy, creativity versus hierarchy, and the influence of ideologies, communism versus MRA. बोर्ड एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ये चैप्टर कैरेक्टर्स, एनेक्डोट्स एंड द ऑथर्स ऑब्जर्वेशंस पर फोकस करता है। इसमें से शॉर्ट आंसर, लॉन्ग आंसर एंड एक्सट्रैक्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस आते हैं। वेटेज इज यूजुअली अराउंड 5-7 मार्क्स। Students often enjoy the humor, but sometimes find it hard to connect the different anecdotes or grasp the underlying satire. We will connect the dots. Alright, let's enter the world of Gemini Studios, starting with Pancakes. Pancake was the brand name of the makeup material Gemini Studios bought in truckloads. Greta Garbo, Miss Gohar, Vijayanti Mala, सबने यूज किया होगा। मेकअप डिपार्टमेंट अपस्टेयर्स था, in a building believed to be Robert Clive's stables. Makeup room looked like a hair-cutting salon with large mirrors and incandescent lights at all angles, causing fiery misery to those subjected to makeup. डिपार्टमेंट पहले एक बंगाली हेड करते थे, फिर एक महाराष्ट्रियन, assisted by a Dharwar Kannadiga, Andhra, Madras Indian Christian, Anglo-Burmese and local Tamils. Author calls this gang a great example of national integration long before AIR and Doordarshan. ये गैंग किसी भी डिसेंट लुकिंग पर्सन को हिडियस क्रिम्सन ह्यूड मॉन्स्टर बना सकती थी विद पैनकेक एंड लोकल पोशंस। इंडोर शूटिंग ज्यादा होती थी, मे बी सेट्स लाइट्स नीडेड एक्टर्स टू लुक अगली टू लुक प्रेजेंटेबल ऑन स्क्रीन। स्ट्रिक्ट हायरार्की थी मेकअप डेप्थ में। Chief makeup man made chief actors ugly. Senior assistant the second hero heroine, junior assistant the main comedian, etc. Crowd players की responsibility थी office boy की. Yes, makeup depth में भी office boy. Crowd shooting days पर वो giant vessel में paint mix करके crowd players पर slap करता था, closing every pore. Office boy wasn't exactly a boy. Early 40s. Studios join किया था years ago hoping to become star actor, screenwriter, डायरेक्टर और लिरिक्स राइटर। बिट ऑफ अ पोएट था, डिसअपॉइंटेड था कि उसका टैलेंट वेस्ट हो रहा है इन अ डिपार्टमेंट फिट ओनली फॉर बार्बर्स एंड परवर्ट्स। ऑथर असोकामित्रान एक क्यूबिकल में काम करता था विद फ्रेंच विंडोज। उसका काम था न्यूज़पेपर स्टीयर करना डे इन एंड डे आउट। मोस्ट पीपल थॉट ही डिड नेक्स्ट टू नथिंग। एनीवन हु फेल्ट ही नीडेड ऑक्यूपेशन वुड बार्ज इन एंड लेक्चर हिम। ऑफिस बॉय को लगता था author should be enlightened about how great literary talent, मतलब office boy का खुद का talent, was being wasted. Author prayed for crowd shooting to escape his epics. Office boy अपनी frustration, woes, ignominy मतलब अपमान, neglect के लिए convinced था कि कोथामंगलम सब्बू responsible है. Subbu was number 2 at Gemini Studios. उसका opening films में ऑफिस बॉय से ज़्यादा encouraging नहीं था. Maybe more uncertain times face किए होंगे. Formal education में भी lead नहीं था. But being born a Brahmin gave exposure to affluent situations. Ability to look cheerful always, even after a flop film. Always had work for somebody. Couldn't do things alone. Sense of loyalty made him identify with his principal, the boss, S.S. Vasan, completely, turning creativity to principal's advantage. Tailor-made for films, could be inspired when commanded. Producer problem batata, e.g., rat fights tigress, PT's cubs. Subu comes out with 4 ways, then 14 more alternatives. Filmmaking easy with him, gave direction and definition to Gemini during golden years. Subu had separate identity as poet, wrote sprawling novel Thilana Mohanambal. Amazing actor, subsidiary roles performed better than main players. Genuine love for anyone, house was permanent residence for dozens of relations acquaintances. Charitable, improvident matlab fizul kharch. Yet he had enemies. Why? Close to boss. Demeanor like a sycophant matlab chaplus. Readiness to say nice things. Office boy wished direst things for him. Subu attendance roles में story department के अंडर था, comprising a lawyer and assembly of writers had poets. Lawyer officially legal advisor था, but everybody referred to him as the opposite. क्यों? Because of an incident. एक extremely talented but temperamental actress sets पर blew over. Blew over का मतलब गुस्से से फटना. Lawyer ने quietly recording equipment switch on कर दिया. Actress paused. Lawyer played back recording. Nothing incriminating, but hearing her own voice, she was struck dumb, matlab hakka bakka reh gayi. Girl from countryside, catapulted into importance, couldn't recover from terror. End of her brilliant acting career, unwittingly brought about by legal advisor. While other members wore khadi dhoti and shirt, legal advisor wore pants, tie, sometimes a coat like a coat of mail. Looked alone, helpless. Man of cold logic in crowd of dreamers, neutral man among Gandhiites, Khadiites. Close to boss, allowed to produce a film, but flop hui. One day boss closed down story department, perhaps only instance where lawyer lost job because poets were asked to go home. Gemini Studios was favorite haunt, aksar jane ki jagah, of poets like S.D.S. Yogiyar, Sangu Subramaniam, etc. Excellent mess, good coffee. Congress rule meant prohibition, so coffee satisfying entertainment. Barring office boys, clerks, everybody radiated leisure, prerequisite for poetry. Most wore khadi, worshipped Gandhiji, but no faint appreciation for political thought. Naturally, averse to communism. Communist, ghee, godless, no family love, kills parents' children, spreads unrest. Such notions prevailed. Evidence soon forthcoming. Frank Buchman's Moral Rearmament, MRA Army, visited Madras, 1952. Gemini Studios was warmest host. Someone called them International Circus. Presented 2 plays professionally, Jotham Valley and The Forgotten Factor. Ran several shows. Gemini Family, 600, saw them over and over. Message, plain, simple homilies. Sets, costumes first rate. Madras or Tamil drama community impressed. For years, Tamil plays had sunrise and sunset scene like Jotham Valley, bare stage white curtain flute tune. Author learnt later, MRA was counter-movement to international communism. Big bosses like Mr. Vasan simply played into their hands. But author unsure, as bosses remained unchanged. Staff had nice time hosting 200 people, 20 nationalities. Change from usual crowd players. Few months later, another visitor, poet from England. Gemini staff knew Wordsworth, Tennyson. Literate ones knew Keats, Shelley, Byron, maybe Eliot. Who was this poet? Someone said, "He is not a poet, he is an editor. That's why the boss is giving him a big reception." Since the Hindu top men took initiative, surmise was he edited a daily. Most well-informed knew only this much. Around 4 p.m., poet-editor arrived. Tall, very English, serious, unknown. Boss read long speech, knew precious little, peppered with freedom, democracy. Poet spoke, addressed most dazed, silent audience. No one knew what he talked about. Accent defeated understanding. Lasted an hour. Poet left, all dispersed in utter bafflement. What is an English poet doing in a Tamil film studio? His visit remained unexplained mystery. Author believed prose writing wasn't true pursuit of genius. It was for patient, persistent, persevering drudges. Author was one such drudge. Years later, author out of Gemini Studios. Had time, little money. Saw a pile of brand new books, 50 paise each, on footpath. Student editions, low price. Included book, The God That Failed. 6 eminent men of letters describe journeys into communism and disillusioned return. Essays by Andre Gide, Richard Wright, Ignacio Silone, Arthur Koestler, Louis Fisher, and Stephen Spender. Stephen Spender, the poet who visited Gemini. Suddenly, book assumed tremendous significance. Author felt the boss, Mr. Vasan, might not be interested in Spender's poetry, but maybe in his essay on communism. Spender's visit now made sense, related to his anti-communist stance, aligning with Vasan's views and the MRA visit. Author wanted to know more about Spender. Went to British Council Library. Found copies of The Encounter magazine. Remembered editor's name mentioned somewhere. Checked periodical section. Found it. Cover page announced editor's name. Stephen Spender. Author. Heard a bell ringing. Kuch yaad aana ya samajh aana. Felt like he found a long-lost brother. Mystery solved. Strategy time for poets and pancakes. 1. Types of questions. These are some short answer for 2 marks, like describe the makeup department, sheer national integration. Who was the office boy and why was he frustrated? What were Subu's abilities? Why did he have enemies? Describe the lawyer, his actions. What was MRA, its influence? Describe Stephen Spender's visit, the mystery. These are some long answer for 5 to 6 marks, like character sketch of Subu, or the office boy, or the lawyer. Describe the atmosphere and hierarchy at Gemini Studios. Discuss the author's humorous portrayal of events and people. Explain the significance of the MRA visit and Stephen Spender's visit in the context of the studio's anti-communist leanings. These are some extract-based for 4 to 6 marks, like passages describing the makeup room, the office boy's frustration, Subu's character, the lawyer's incident, MRA plays, or Spender's visit. How to write full-mark answers. Focus on anecdotes, like use specific examples and stories told by the author, makeup process, office boy's complaints, Subu's problem solving, lawyer's recording incident, MRA plays, Spender's speech, to illustrate points. First, identify humor, satire. Like point out the author's witty observations and subtle criticisms, e.g., national integration in makeup, lawyer being called opposite, poets radiating leisure, bafflement during Spender's visit. Second dice, connect the dots. Like explain the underlying connections, especially the anti-communist theme linking MRA and Spender's visit to the boss's ideology. Third, character contrasts. Highlight contrasts between characters like the office boy and Subu, or the lawyer and the poets. 3. Let's discuss some common student mistakes and smart tips. Mistake. 1. Treating the chapter as just a collection of unrelated stories. Tip. Find the common thread, the author's observations of life and people at Gemini Studios, with underlying themes. Mistake. 2. Missing the satire and humor, taking everything literally. Tip. Look for irony and exaggeration in the descriptions. Mistake. 3. Not understanding the significance of MRA or Stephen Spender's visit. Tip. Connect them to the anti-communist sentiment mentioned earlier in the chapter. ये गलती 80% स्टूडेंट्स करते हैं. स्पेंडर की विजिट को बस एक कंफ्यूजिंग इवेंट समझ लेते हैं. अरे बेटा, वो एंटी कम्युनिज्म एंगल से कनेक्ट करो. बॉस का एजेंडा था. क्विक रिकैप. पोएट्स एंड पैनकेक्स. Recap. Go. Gemini Studios. Chennai Film Studio. Author Asokamitran worked there. Pancake. Makeup brand used heavily. Makeup depth had national integration, strict hierarchy. Office boy. Frustrated aspiring artist blamed Sabu for his woes. Ikota Mangalam Subu. Number 2. Cheerful, loyal to boss, multi-talented, poet, writer, actor, problem solver, but seen as sycophant. Story department. Included lawyer, called opposite, ended actress's career. Poets. Lawyer. Wore Western clothes, logical, different from khadi-clad poets. Atmosphere. Leisurely, for poets. Anti-communist sentiment. MR a visit, 1952. Moral rearmament army hosted, staged plays. Jotham Valley. Influenced Tamil drama, seen as anti-communist. Stephen Spender. Visit. English poet, editor visits. Speech incomprehensible. Visit a Nuars mystery. Mystery solved. Years later, author finds Spender's essay in The God That Failed, anti-communist book, and sees his name as editor of The Encounter. Connects visit to anti-communism. Practice questions with smart hints. Let's tackle these questions. Question 1. Subu is described as a many-sided genius. Elaborate on his character and abilities, also explaining why he had enemies. 5 marks. Hint list his abilities. Cheerful, loyal, creative problem solver for films, poet, addressed masses, novelist, Tilana Mohanambal, amazing actor, subsidiary roles, charitable, reasons for enemies, closeness to boss, seen as sycophant, readiness to say nice things. Question 2. Describe the makeup department at Gemini Studios and explain why the author calls it an example of national integration. 3 marks. Hint location, Robert Clive's stables. Appearance, hair-cutting salon. Staff diversity, Bengali head, Maharashtrian, Kannadiga, Andhra, Christian, Anglo-Burmese, Tamils. Hierarchy, fiery misery caused. Question 3. Why was the lawyer in the story department called the opposite? Describe the incident that led to this. 4 marks. Hint official role versus perception, the recording incident with actress, her reaction, career destruction, his different appearance, Western clothes versus khadi. Question 4. Explain the significance of Stephen Spender's visit to Gemini Studios in the context of the chapter's themes. 6 marks. Hint, initial mystery, staff confusion, incomprehensible speech, later discovery of the God That Failed, anti-communist connection, link to MRA visit, boss's ideology. ओके, जैसे मैंने स्टार्टिंग में प्रॉमिस किया था, अब वक्त है सरप्राइज का। अगर आपको पोएट्स एंड पैनकेक्स कान के फुल नोट्स प्लस सैम्पल क्वेश्चंस पीडीएफ फ्री चाहिए तो सिंपल काम करो। डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए मेरी वेबसाइट लिंक पर जाओ, वहां अपना नाम और ईमेल आईडी भरो और न्यूज़लेटर को सब्सक्राइब करो। फिर मैं आपको 24 घंटे के अंदर आपके ईमेल पर नोट्स भेज दूंगी। अगर वीडियो हेल्पफुल लगा हो, लाइक ज़रूर करो, कमेंट में बताना कौन सा पॉइंट सबसे ज़्यादा हेल्प किया और वीडियो को शेयर करना मत भूलना। और हाँ, ग्रो विद कनिष्का को सब्सक्राइब करो, जहां इंग्लिश बोर्ड प्रेप होती है क्लियर, फोकस्ड और फन। मेहनत स्मार्ट तरीके से करो, सेल्फ डाउट हटाओ और क्लास 12 बोर्ड्स में आप टॉपर बन सकते हो। आई बिलीव इन यू। वेबसाइट लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन में है, जाकर न्यूज़लेटर ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब करो ताकि मैं नोट्स भेज सकूं, और कमेंट में लिखना सब्सक्राइब्ड ताकि मैं आपका नाम आइडेंटिफाई कर सकूं। चलिए अब मिलेंगे अपनी नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। टीबी तक के लिए बाय बाय, टेक केयर, कीप लर्निंग एंड कीप ग्रोइंग विद ग्रो विद कनिष्का।